Google Forms is one of those things that you use and then you think, where has this been all my life? They are so great so that you can get data, so that you can provide surveys, you can use them for quizzes and assessments, just so many things. I'm going to show you very quickly how to create a just very basic form. And I'm in Drive, I'm logged into my Google account, and I know because right up here it has my name, and then I also see my profile picture. And then also I'm within the folder that I want my form to be stored in. This one here says Forms and Add-ons, and that's where I'm working, so I'm just going to open that, and then I'm going to go to New. Whenever I go to New, I'm going to go down here to More, and Google Forms is right there. So this is the process of creating a new form. And the first thing I want to do is give my form a name. So I'm going to click up where it says Untitled Form and give it a name. This one is going to be called Getting to Know You. And I'll click OK and see how I automatically changed that right there. I can put in a form description here. This would maybe just be a little bit of a description like information for our new online course participants. And then my question title. It's very, very important to remember that whenever you're using Google Forms with students, unless you want anonymous information, your first couple of questions should always be, what is your first name? What is your last name? What is your email address? So here's what I'm going to do. Where it says question title, I'm going to click on Untitled Question and type in, what is your first name? Okay, now my question type, I don't want it to be multiple choice. I want my students to be able to type in their name. So I'm going to click here and then choose text. And I want this to be required. Everybody has to put in their first name. Okay, now I'm done with this question, so I'll hit done there. And now I'm going to hit add item. Again, I want this one to be a text question because I'm going to ask them now, what is your last name? So I'm going to click on text. And this one is required. I'll hit done. And then my next question is going to be, what is your email address? So again, I'm going to choose text. And I'm going to choose required question. Okay, now first thing is take a look up here where it says form settings. I am using a personal account, so I have fewer settings up here. But if I were using a school managed account, I would have a couple of other options. One option would be only allow people at, and it will have the domain of your school right up here with the box. So that means that instead of only allow one response per person requires login, that it would only allow people who are within your school or district to be able to use this form or submit to this form. Another one that it would have would be to grab the login information from your users. Okay, so if I've got that box checked, that means it's going to give me the first name and last name and email address of those people. And so if I'm doing something that really should be anonymous, I would want to make sure I uncheck that. However, it is still a good idea whenever you're really needing to capture first and last name that you still do this, because if you want to put an add-on into your form or into your form responses, you will probably need this. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm ready for my next question, and I made a little list so that way it would be easier for me. I want to know what is their teaching position, and then I have some information about their motivation right here. So for the teaching position, I'm again going to use a text-based question. This one I would like to know, but I'm not going to require it. And then the next one was specific about what the takeaway was. What's the motivation here? So this one is actually going to be a multiple choice. And here's my question. All right, now I have some ideas here, and I've listed them there. Learning how to communicate with parents, students, and colleagues, learning how to automate and simplify daily processes, and learning how to simplify data analysis. So see, I've got them here in a list. I'm going to copy those. So I just hit copy, and now I'm going to go over here, and where it says option 1, I'm going to click, and I'm going to paste. And look what it did. It just copied those down for me, so that way I don't have to click and type in, and it really saves me some time. This one is going to be required, and I'll hit done. And then I had one more question over, I had 2 more questions. I would rate my experience, and then for fun I like to rate my experience. I am going to make that a scale type question. So you see here I've got all these different kinds of questions. My first couple were text-based questions because they were just a few words. But if I were having my students create something that maybe needed to have a full paragraph kind of response, I would choose paragraph text. Check boxes and choose from a list are very helpful too. Checkboxes allows my users to choose multiple items if they were like a multiple choice, but you could choose more than one. And then choose from a list is really very friendly whenever my users are using a mobile device. And then the other thing is if there's many different choices, like if I said, what grade do you teach? And then I had K, 1, 2, 3, 4 going down, that would be too much to just list in a multiple choice like this. So I would probably just choose from a list there. Okay, so over here I've got the scale, I've got the grid, and I am going to choose scale for this one. And my question was, how would you rate your proficiency in Google Drive applications? Okay, so it's a scale. I want it to be, instead of 1 to 5, I want it to be 1 to 4. 1 is not familiar at all. 4 is very proficient. This one I do want to be a required question. I'm going to hit done. And then I had that one last question, if you remember that. It was just me trying to get to know people, and it was for fun, I like to, and it was blank. For that one, I'm going to have a paragraph text. And I am actually going to make this one a required question, and we will see why whenever we see the next couple of videos. So I'll just click that, hit done, and now I'm ready to send my form. I've got a couple of different ways I can do that. My purposes are to take this form and then put it into another learning management system. So I'm going to click where it says View Live Form. And this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to just click up here. I've got the URL highlighted. Now I'll go to Edit. I'm going to copy that. And then I'll go into my learning management system and post that. I'll paste it in so that way people can access it. The other way that I can do that is by clicking here where it says Send Form. And now I can email it straight to people or to groups and put in a message with that as well. So this will go right into their email. They won't have to go somewhere else. You need to choose what is most appropriate for you and for your purposes, but This is just as easy to use as the other one. It just depends on if you need to make it public, like on a website or a learning management system, or if you've got those email addresses that you can send it directly to.